Harambe YouTube, it is Uncle Blurred here, and today we're going to be doing a second edition of What's in the Box. A little background on this segment. I have been an action figure collector for going on 10 years now, and when I first started, I fell into the speculation trap. What that is you see something that you think will go up in price, so you either buy multiple versions of it or you buy it even though you don't want it personally yourself, with the grand plan of flipping it and making big money off of it. But I found out, fortunately sooner than later, that toy speculation is ridiculous. They're pieces of plastic. Sure, there will be that rare one that does go up in value, but for most action figures that you buy off the shelf or even online, the value is going to be what you get out of them, how you enjoy them, what they mean to you in particular, unless you're talking about a very, very old, rare piece, which you're not going to find in the aisles of Walmart, Target, or on Amazon. And so I have a couple of boxes of action figures that I didn't necessarily want. I didn't intend on opening, but they're here. And I figured, what the hey, occasionally I will open one up randomly from my dusty box of action figures that I will never sell. So let's get into it. Now, the thing about this segment is I do not know what I'm unboxing. I'm going to reach into the box and decide. And so you guys are going to see my selection as I make it. It could be Star Wars, it could be Marvel, it could be DC, it will most likely be wrestling. But let's get in here. And like I said, I'm doing this true. I'm going to dig around, I'm going to fish around and see what we got going on in here. I think I found, let's see. Okay. So what is in the box? Oh, okay. Yeah. We got AJ Styles. This is an Elite. Let's see. It has interchangeable hands. The WWE Championship. And trying to see if there is a year on this. Talks about his championship match against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at the 2018 Royal Rumble. So yeah, let's get in this. It has true effects, and it is definitely an older figure because if you look in here, you see it only has single jointed elbows. And for an Elite figure, now the elbows are double jointed. So without further ado, let's open this up. Now, AJ Styles actually retired from competition this year. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's actually the wrestler that got me back into fandom. When I became a teenager, I got into the mode of being too cool to watch wrestling. And, I spent most of my time either practicing music or playing video games. And one night, after a night out with friends, I was flipping through the TV and I saw a commercial for Impact Wrestling. And I saw this guy doing moves I had never seen in wrestling before. And I had to find out who it was, and it was AJ Styles. And so he holds a special place in my heart because he is the wrestler that got me back into wrestling. Now, the way I do these reviews, be they brand new or what's in the box reviews, is I use a 3A criteria. Those A's are appearance, articulation, and accessories. So that, we have a good base to judge these action figures. And then, like I said, this is Mattel. We look at the rest of the action figures that come in the line with this. Actually balances very well. I like that. Yeah, the other action figures that come on this series are Nikki Cross. I do not have this one. I have her NXT one, which is part of Sanity. I think this is post NXT. We have Kurt Angle. I do have this one in my collection. AJ Styles. We have Kevin Owens, one that I do not have in my collection. Eric Rowan, when he was with the Bludgeon Brothers. I have Luke Harper, but I do not have the Eric Rowan from this time. And of course, Luke Harper. I have that one sitting right across from me on my shelf over there. On the back, it gives you some stats. He's from Gainesville, Georgia. 218 pounds, 5 feet 11 inches. And his finisher is the phenomenal forearm. So let's talk about appearance. Yeah, the face scan is great. It looks just like him. Back then they were using these thick plastic rubber shirts and vests that were very, very hard to get on and off here. Here we go. But yeah, the face scan, like I said, this is when they first started using that TrueScan technology. So I'll see if I can get you a close up of the face here. He has that smirk, more of his heel bad guy expression there. And we got the gloves. We have the one elbow pad on the right. And then we have the tattoos here. We have on this side AJ right underneath the arm, and then you go down right on the waist there, you see this series of numbers, and those are the birth dates. Yeah, the birth dates of his children. And that's a great detail. With this camera quality, you cannot tell, but you can actually read the individual numbers. That's how well that is detailed. And then one thing too that I like that Mattel does, that Jazzwares, they've started doing recently, and if you haven't heard, Jazzwares, the company that does the AEW action figures, they're no longer going to be doing them come the end of 2026. And they've done a lot of things I really like, but one thing that they did not do, and when they started doing it, they did it rather poorly, was body hair. And if you look here at the chest hair, it looks, Mattel, they used to do a great job with the, the way that it's drawn on. It almost looks like actual chest hair. It's not overly dramatic. It's just, like most everything else, like with the tattoos. I mean, they did a great job on the small details of this particular action figure. And so far, I mean, as far as appearance goes, we're looking at an A. We go down to the pants here. We have the, looks like maybe a powder light blue with the gray and white trim. I like the pants here, but one thing I don't like is if you look here at the belt buckle, you have a painted buckle, but there's no difference in texture. I think they could have maybe did a raised texture on that, but that's just me nitpicking. And then on the side of the pants, we have the P1 logos for Phenomenal 1 on that side. And then we have another here on the left side, and we have a stripe going all the way down the leg. And then the knee joints. Let's see if I can get a good look at these knee joints. We have pinned, double jointed knees with great range of motion. And the knee pads are actually a softer rubber, which is rare for this time because I remember action figures of this era having very thick, unpliable knee pads that made it very difficult to pose. But going down, you see the boots here with the kick pad, and then, okay, yeah. And then on one kick pad, he says phenomenal. On the other side, it's the one. And then what they did here on the kick pad is something I like, is you see that they actually painted the kick pad separate from the boot. But once I get my hands on it, you can actually feel what the texture of where they raised. They actually sculpted the kick pad as a separate piece from the boot. It's a small detail, but it makes a big difference. It just feels like another piece. It's not just, an extension of the boot. So I really like that. So for appearance, I definitely give this an A+. Now let's talk about the articulation. We dipped into that a little bit earlier, but we have the head is on a ball joint, not a great range of motion. This haircut limits it. You can only go back. You only get so much range of motion backward and side to side because of the hair and the very stiff plastic they were using at this time. And then shoulders, you go all the way around here, and then you have a cut on the bicep for horizontal left to right movement. We have single jointed pinned elbows, and so you're not going to get the across the body action that you would get from later action figures, which in these early Adrian Styles figures, that was something that I really, really missed out on. Because if you look at the gloves here, a trademark is, let's look at these open-hand gloves here. They're meant so when he does his signature pose like this, you see when the hands come together, you get one P1 logo. But with the single jointed elbows, you can't get the hands to cross. That's something they corrected with the double jointed elbows. But still, even despite the fact you can't cross those hands, they still put the logo on the palm of the gloves. And so it's still photo accurate, another point for appearance. But a negative for articulation. The wrist side to side, the hands pop on and off. Let's see how these things move here. Yeah, the hands come on and off pretty well. And we do have separate wristbands. I'm just noticing as well. There are just a lot of great looking parts to this action figure. And let me demonstrate. You see here with the hands, if you could get them to cross, you would see it completes the logo. And then going back to articulation, and the hands go in and out as well, back and forth. And then going to the torso is on a rocker. Hips swivel all the way around. And then going from the hip to the leg, we have a ball joint. Double jointed pinned knees, and then we have a cut on the calf right at the tippy top of the boot here for left to right motion. And I love it when they put cuts in natural places. A lot of times these companies will put a cut mid boot or mid calf, and it creates an unnecessary line. But here with the cut at the top of the boot, and they even make sure that it doesn't go over the kick pad. So when you move this boot left to right, you're not breaking up the image on the kick pad. You have, a natural line there. And then the ankles are very stiff, very limited, as they were back in these days. With a little bit of elbow grease, you can get some backward motion, a little bit of forward motion. Not too much, a little side to side on each foot. And so that is the articulation. I will give the articulation a B because of the lack of double jointed elbows that they were doing during this time. I think they were only doing the double jointed elbows on the upper level of the, let's see, yeah, you had basics, which had all single joints, you had elites, and then you had, I cannot remember, I can't remember the other level, but I actually have a couple where from back in that time period where they were the only ones you get double jointed elbows and you would get butterfly cuts as well. I'm not going to waste your time trying to remember what that is called. But yeah, the articulation gets a B from me. Now moving on to accessories, it's sparse, but it is true to the character. We have the shirt, which I discussed a little bit. The P1 logo says the house that AJ built. You have a P1 logo on the back. It's a great looking shirt. The only complaint I have is it is very, very hard to get on and off of the action figure because of that stiff, thick rubber. Nowadays, fortunately, with the newest figures I've seen from Mattel, the plastic is either a lot more pliable or they've actually gotten to using soft goods materials on a lot of the most recent Mattel stuff I bought. I think one of the newer action figures I bought from them is the Zoe Stark action figure that uses a soft goods entrance vest. And then a figure I'm going to be opening up here soon is Tyler Bate. You see his entrance vest is also soft goods. A little preview, I'll probably be doing this one next week. And so I like the fact that they improved the accessories there from this time. Great looking accessory, but it's just very, very hard to actually move on and off. The plus side is once you get it on, you're not going to lose it. He also comes with a WWE Championship. Will not fit around him when he's wearing the shirt because of that thick rubber. These championships from this time, I'm not a big fan of what they did with these. Kind of slapdash. If you look here, you can see that the middle plate is actually tilted more to the right. The left side plate is off kilter. The right side plate is probably the only piece that is in as far as that is actually presentation wise correct. And we have the thick rubber, the same stuff that's used for the shirt. And it's not glue, it's actually connected here on the back here, so you don't have to worry about the plates falling off. But yeah, you can see some spillage from the paint. This is just a very, very slapdash, ugly championship build. You know, from a distance, it's passable, but up close, it is awful. And I mean, for the price point that these were going at the time, you would expect something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But it is what it is. I think they've done a little bit better now. I'm trying to think of the last. I can't remember the last WWE Championship I've gotten with action figure, but I can say without a doubt it is better than this one. I will give the accessory, like I said, the hands. They look great, but they're not really practical. The shirt is too bulky. The belt is bad. I will give these accessories a C to maybe a D. And so, I mean, if you want to talk about it fairly, in my opinion, appearance is top notch. Even the ugly, bulky shirt, I guess it's not bulky, unwieldy, bulky shirt, looks great. The pants, the logos, this is one of the better paint jobs I've seen from Mattel. The gloves, I cannot deduct points from the appearance. The articulation, I've been picky because, like I said, back then they didn't have double jointed elbows. But when you get this in your hands as opposed to something current, you feel a difference that is noticeable. So that's to be in the accessories, from the thick rubber shirt to the cheap, terrible looking belt to the hands that, while they look impressive, you really can't get the full potential of them. Yeah, they do not get a high grade as far as accessories. But yeah, I think this captures a important time in his career. I think this was right before one of the big shows they were doing overseas. And it was a big surprise when he won the championship because they had it on another wrestler. I think this was his first championship run. And the other guy, Jinder Mahal, was not as successful as they'd hoped. So he did a quick switch before Survival Series, which led to a great match between him and Brock Lesnar. And so, it's cool to have little, trends that remind you of those special wrestling moments. So that's it for episode 2 of What's in the Box. Stay tuned. We're going to have more comic book reviews coming up sooner than later. And I think next week we're going to be opening up this guy, taking a look at Tyler Bate and seeing what this is all about, getting a look at some of Mattel's newer work. And we have the comic book previews Tuesday, comic book unboxing Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. If you would like to contribute to the growth of this channel, you can buy me a coffee with the QR code on the screen. But just liking, subscribing, maybe even sharing, that's more than enough. But that's it. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay phenomenal. Unblurred is out.